Okay, beautiful. Can you guys confirm for me if you can go onto YouTube real quick and just see and hear everything perfectly fine?
Yeah, it seems to be working.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. As people hop in, we'll just ask them as well. So let's start off with the usual. So first of all, the first question that we always ask is, what's the structure? So what's the structure here like? Is it bullish, bearish, or are we sitting in consolidation?
Looks bearish to me.
Bearish? Alright, and
with a bit of consolidation.
what confirms that for you?
You know what, now that I look at it, not really, because it hasn't broken this level here. I mean, I was looking at this, but right now we're in a consolidation. Now that I broke it.
Alright, and then the next question is, what levels do we mark off here? So what levels do you guys need to see being broken right now for price to continue in one direction or another? So this is the weekly time frame, so make sure you guys are taking that into account. So before we, yeah, there you go, Kat, that one. So these are going to be some of our target areas that we want to be taking a look at, right? So before we head up there, so that is valid, right? 100%. This is a valid area. But before we continue up there this week, we need price to break above these areas here specifically, and then even down here, for example. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and change this to black as well. Okay, perfect. Now we drop down to the daily time frame. So now what's going on here on the daily time frame? What do we see and what levels do we need to see price breaking to confirm that we're headed in one direction or another? So first question is always structure, regardless of the time frame that you hop on. And then the second one is the levels that price needs to break.
I mean, now it looks more bullish, but still, until it breaks at least this level or this level, I would say we're still in a consolidation.
Okay. So since this is the daily time frame, let's say we got some potential buy opportunities. At the very minimum, you have like about what, 58 pips, 60 pips, maybe even going into the zone around 70. And then if we break back down, then we have potential sells, let's say coming down to the support for around 200 pips, right? Anywhere from like 100 to 200 pips. Is there anything that you guys would narrow in on here?
I don't know if the body of this would be too much to narrow in on, but
yeah, potentially. So something else that I'm also targeting here is like this area down here, right? To see how price is reacting to it. And the reason why is because the last couple of days we see how price has been tapping into that area and just rejecting it. So we had a nice bullish momentum from here coming up all the way up top. We rejected that, and then we rejected down here as well. We're rejecting down here as well. So even though the last two daily candles have been bearish, it seems like we keep rejecting this area, even the daily candle right here. So if we can continue the bullish momentum from here, then maybe a bottom wick and then a push up is what we could potentially see. Or if we're going to look for any sort of sells, then we wait for price to break below this 1812 area.
makes sense.
Perfecto. And then we are going to drop down to the 4 hour here. Alright, so what do we see on the 4 hour? Let me zoom out a bit just so you guys can see the bigger picture. So what's going on here on the 4 hour?
Still consolidating.
Yeah. What about the structure in general? So we know that price dropped down here. We had consolidation, and then we saw price kind of bouncing off of these areas right here. And then ever since then, what kind of structure have we been sitting in?
Yeah, bullish. I mean, we are making higher lows.
So we are seeing price bouncing. So here's your first support area, and then after that, price kind of just reacting off of this and still maintaining some sort of a bullish structure, right? And what's the two ways that the market collects orders?
Consolidations and retracements.
Right. So this is right now market collecting orders. If we're going to look for any sort of, again, sell opportunities, this kind of just verifies that we need price to break below this. But if we're going to look for any sort of buys, then I want to see price. Right now it seems like it's kind of doing some sort of a pullback. So maybe if it bounces off of this again, then we can look for some continued buy opportunities. And the reason why is because, let's zoom in here real quick. So once price bounced off of this area here, so we had a nice bullish move up, right? We bounced off of it, and then we had another bullish move up here. So these could be some of your intraday time frame trades. So these could be your scalps turned into, let's say, day trades or even swing trades. And then we come here and then hold on to the support here and push up again. So it seems like we're retracing here a little bit, but I would want to see how is price kind of reacting into these areas.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Would we consider these fake outs?
More like liquidity grabs, right? Because let's see right here. So price in the general area, it's been tapping to the same area, and then we have a lot of volume in the following candles. So that's how you can tell whether that's an area of liquidity or not. Because liquidity always means that there's volume trapped there, there's capital trapped there, right? And so every time price breaks out of an area of liquidity or taps into it, there's always going to be volume that follows. That's also part of like that supply demand thing that we've been going over in the webinars too, right? And even in the boot camp. That's essentially what this is.
Got it. Makes sense.
Alrighty. Any other questions before we go ahead and move down to the hourly? Okay, cool.
Nope.
If you guys are on YouTube, feel free to put in any questions that you guys may have, and then when we get to the part of where we're actually going to be taking trades, feel free to hop on and kind of take trades with us as well. So we are here now on the hourly time frame. So what do we kind of see happening here? So same thing, right? A bullish move up. We can also even mark off this area here just to show that, hey, that's where price keeps bouncing off of. Once we broke above it, there's another area down here. So if I zoom in, right there. So that's another area where price keeps bouncing off of. Once price broke above this minor little consolidation that it was in right here, all of this, we had a nice bullish run up. It seems like we're kind of coming back and holding on to it as a support. So if you're going to look for any sort of buy opportunities, and again, this is for swing trades because I've been getting a lot of questions on Instagram too about swing trades. So if you're going to look for any sort of swing trade, what do we need to see happening here on the hourly time frame?
Everything needs to be in the same direction as the higher time frames.
Yeah, so every higher time frames down to lower time frames need to be in the same direction, but we also need to see some form of break and retest, retracement, support being formed, or resistance being formed, right? Those kind of things. Alright, so this is Tuesday of January this year, on the 18th. So let's do some real-time ticks. Just for time's sake, I'm going to go up to 5. And then let's see what price is doing here. So this is Asian session here. So that's your little range that you can trade in, but again, it's about like 54 pips. So that's going to be quick scalp kind of a situation here. Or if price, well, this is not even an area that I would trade in. So this is the area that I would stay out of. So this would be like my no trade range. Let's check the 4-hour and the higher time frames real quick. I'm going to move this to the other screen. We're going to zoom in here. Alright, so this line that we just created here on lower time frames, where we narrowed in into the price action right here on the hourly. So when you go onto the weekly, that confirms that if this candle were to flip below this 1818 area, then this would be a bearish weekly candle, right? Then that would kind of confirm any sort of sells that you would want to take. But if we're going to be looking for any sells, we want that 1818 to be broken. But if we're looking for buys, then right now the weekly seems to be in our direction. So that's a good thing. If you guys want, we could highlight that as a different color, just so when we drop down to lower time frames, we know that this is the weekly time frame that we're looking at. You come onto the daily, same thing here on the daily time frame, where I can't zoom in anymore, but this daily candle just started forming here. So if this daily candle flips below 1818, then it's going to be bearish, and then we could look for those potential sells. But if this candle is bullish, it doesn't really make sense for us to look for any sort of sells. So right now it's bullish. We're probably going to be looking for some buy opportunities if we can see the volume. You drop down to the 4-hour time frame, so same thing, where price has been holding on to this little support. So let's see if price can continue breaking above these areas. The last 4-hour candle closed like a weak bearish. So what does that essentially tell us? Was there volume in that candle?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
This weak bearish candle right here, the last 4-hour, what does that tell us?
Oh, indecision?
No, and lack of volume. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no volume. So even if we were bearish, we didn't have enough volume to continue pushing down here. So right now it seems like we're not even testing that area. We're kind of just like a doji, and then we flip back up bullish. So we can't look for potential buys until, if you were to narrow in even more so that you can find your exact trade opportunity, it would be somewhere above this. For like around 40, and then maybe if you let everything else kind of run, then yeah. But if you zoom in a bit more, you can't zoom in anymore on this 4-hour, but that's where the previous 4-hour high is going to be broken, at this 1819 area. So that means anything in between, that's just the market like kind of showing you that indecision where you don't have any potential buy opportunities just yet. So if we're going to look for any sort of buys, you wait for that 4-hour high to be broken, you go on to the 1-hour time frame, and that's also where you kind of break above this previous minor high that was being formed. So essentially what we're going to be looking for, if you're looking for any sort of, like, let's say scalp opportunities, day trade opportunities, swing trade opportunities, at the very minimum you want to see some sort of break and retest around this, and then a continuation up. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. I have another quick question, since we're in Asian session right now. You might have said this before, but I can't remember. How do we know when it's a good day or a good week to trade during Asian session?
Usually, in general, not even like pertaining to the sessions, I don't trade Mondays. So Sundays, I don't trade. Mondays, I try to stay out of it because that's the first day that the London and New York session open up. And then Monday Asian, I'll probably start looking into some trade opportunities. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays is when I'm usually looking for my trade opportunities. You could trade any session whenever, but the reason why I choose those specific days is because Sunday here in California, that's when the market that's when the Asian market opens up. So it's going to be pricing and everything that's happened over the weekend, right? And then London session is going to open up, so you're going to have volatility there. And then you have New York session on Monday opening up, so you have some volatility there. So I wait for all three of the markets to be open, price in everything that's going on, and then Monday Asian session, which is technically Tuesday, like in the Asian markets, is when I start looking for those trade opportunities. And then Thursday I stop because Thursday Asian session is the last Asian session of the week. And then Friday London session is the last London session of the week. And Friday New York session is the last New York session of the week. So I've seen, like in my experience, that there's tend to be a lot of volatility towards the end and beginning of the week. So I like to trade kind of in the middle.
Makes sense. Cool. And when you say price, then you mean like all the orders from the weekend and stuff?
Yeah, like
Or sentiment?
a lot of like gaps and stuff that happen because there's either like some like high fundamental news coming out when the market was closed. So like you could see like something like this in the middle of the week, or you could see this like towards the end of the week. So this was Friday, I believe. Yeah, I think this is Friday because right now we're Tuesday, right here. So the 17th was a Monday, that means. So Friday, you have like that little bit of volatility where you have the gap happenings, and then sometimes you'll see it right when the Asian market opens up for the week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit more. So you have the first like 30-minute close here. We're looking at the next 30 minutes. So right now it seems like we're just holding on to the support, which is a good thing. So that's not your trade just yet. Trade entry point is more of your confirmation. So on the 4 hour, same thing. You have a little bit of a confirmation. Daily, same thing. It's bullish, and so is the weekly. You guys cool with me kind of skipping through?
Yep.
Yeah, right. I'm just doing it for time's sake here because we have more people. Alright, we make that bottom wick and we continue pushing. So that shows us good volume, which is good. But we don't have our trade confirmation just yet. Or our entry confirmation. 4 hours, very bullish. It's breaking the previous highs, so is the daily and the weekly here.
So we're looking for a candle closure?
Candle close, I want to see some form of break and retest here because we're in this little daily zone here, and then on the 4 hour as well. We just broke above this, we're retesting, and now we're holding on to some sort of support. So if we are to continue pushing, so let's say like into these areas here, into this area here again, I want to see some form of break and retest. Or else we could just come up here, tap into this, and then continue back down. And that's kind of where you have to make the decision, is like, is that trade kind of worth it for me?
So likely a bottom with rejection to the upside.
Break and retest.
Or like full body in the 1 hour? Because it's not a high volume time.
Yeah. When London opens up, then I would like to see, then I could do like bottom wick rejection and continued push up. Alright, I'm gonna skip through just for sake of time here, so no one comes back and sees like a 3 hour session of nothing. Alright, we got a bullish close above that area. Four hours looking promising, so is the daily and the weekly. So if there's no break and retest, then there's no entry. So this is volume. You could take an impulse trade here. The only reason why I'm not taking a trade here is because then, let's say, even if as price is kind of fluctuating, I took an entry as soon as price broke the high. I would personally feel like it's a much safer stop loss somewhere down here, which isn't that wide given for gold, right? Like 20 pips, 21 pips or so. It's not bad. But if you get a break and retest, then there's this confirmation of, okay, this area here is being respected as support. and we can continue pushing for a longer trade. So instead of just running for, let's say, 30 pips or so, we have a trade opportunity to run for about 80 pips. A little over double.
And a potential smaller stop loss too.
Yeah, a tighter stop loss too. Because now you know that price is pretty much telling you that, hey, I'm not going to go anything below this.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see how we close. Closing bullish. If the candle movement's like too fast for you guys, let me know. Even on, YouTube. And I'll slow it down. I'm just doing it for the sake of time so you guys don't have to come back and see like a 2-hour session. And kind of sit through it. Alright, here's a new 4-hour. So we're still in Asian. We're not into pre-London or London just yet.
At this point, when we look at the 4-hour, could we say that there is a possibility that it rejects this area, despite the fact that in all other higher time frames there is more of like a bullish situation going on?
Yeah, so that's why it's important to see like a support being formed instead of just taking the impulsive trade. I'm not saying that trade is wrong. You could absolutely take this trade, right? But again, it would come down to like where would you place your stop loss, or how are you going to take your partials? Are you going to be content with just price hitting your TP here, or are you like in one of those situations where you still have that trade psychology of, well, price is continuing in my direction, I'm just going to continue letting the trade run. Instead of like, well, I know this is as high as price is going to go, and that's where I'm going to take it out at.
Right, like in this case, the limitation of our trade would have been around here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is good because this is telling you that it's still maintaining a bullish structure. So you got your little support. Price did come back down here and hold on to a support here, right? And so that's what would make this entry here or even this entry here valid, right? But your stop loss would still need to be like right here, below this support, right? Where support has been formed and price is pushing up.
Right.
Versus if you get a break and retest, then you have more of a confirmation of, okay, I can, like for example here, where price reacted off of this area and then pushed up, and then you had a break and retest. This is pretty much price telling you it's not going to go anything lower than that. So you could have a tighter stop loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, the limitation of your trade, like where would it be? How would you take partials and all that stuff?
Are you asking me a question, or was that?
No, I'm just saying, like in general, like those are the questions that you would be asking.
Oh, okay, gotcha. 2 questions. Is this a more considerable fake out?
Liquidity grab, right, with that candle?
Oh, because of the volume.
Yeah, every time you see a candle like that, just know that there's going to be bullish volume that's about to come in. So, any time frame. So this
Sorry, a candle like what?
A candle like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom wick rejection, price pushes up. It's like an engulfing candle is what people would call it, with barely a top wick, and then you have a nice bullish volume. Same thing here, and then you have some nice bullish volume. You come and these are like the areas that you would identify. You got this candle here, price pushes up, right? And then we have a similar candle. So this one didn't close with like a complete full volume candle with no top wick, but it did have a top wick, but it did reject the seller. So the whole point is that you have liquidity grabs on these bottom wicks here. Right here, right here. You got one right here.
Do we have any fake outs on the screen, technically?
Yeah, there are. So these would be as candles like break above levels and then come back down. Like those would be considered fake outs. Like this would be a fake out. The way
Oh,
that
okay.
this bullish candle continued bullish right here, and then after that we failed to continue pushing and we just came right back down.
Oh.
But again, the market moves in a certain way for a specific reason. So fake outs just don't happen just to have fake outs. It's more like liquidity grabs or prices trying to go in one direction just to take out buyers or sellers, because every second of the market there's buyers and sellers, right? So we have to take them out in order for us to continue in the opposite direction. Again, you don't take them out just to take them out. It's financial markets, it's money everywhere, so you take them out where as price is retracing. So here, this is well, let me back up here. So price is pushing up bullish, right? You grab all those buy orders, continue pushing bullish, you take some profits off of here, retracements happen, sellers are stepping in, right? And then the buy orders come in again, you continue pushing, but this is an area where we have taken profits before, so that's why this is an area where you would like mark as your partial or like your full TP, depending on like whether you're scalping and like what your style of trading and all of that is going to be, your risk management going to be like. And then as price continues giving you retracements, that's how you kind of manage your trade. But our job as retail traders is only to ride the wave. Like you taking out a partial or myself taking out a partial, anyone else taking out a partial here and on the call is not going to cause this entire move down.
Makes sense.
Hi, BJ. I have a question.
Yes.
What session is this one?
What is what? What session?
Yes.
It's an Asian session right now.
I mean this this part.
What session is that in?
Yeah.
That's New York. So 1600 here, 16 to 20 or even 24. That's all New York.
Because if I have, maybe if we take a trade right here, an entry, right? The stop loss will be here, right?
Yeah.
Or above. Oh, okay. Because if I looking at this, if I take an entry there and I put the stop loss, will this week took me out? Because if I take an entry here, the limitation of my trade or my TP will be here.
Into this area, right? That's the daily level.
Oh, okay.
So you're saying if you take an entry here, or like as soon as this candle continues back up after rejecting this level?
Yes, because it's a break and retest. I will take an entry there, put the stop loss here, or maybe how many pips?
This right here is around 12, 13 pips.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was more pips.
No.
So I will be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, so we've had price push up pretty much right into those areas, same one. Rejection, price pushing back down, and where is it tapping? Right here again. So we just wait. We're still looking for our entry. So same thing. Now it looks more like a consolidation here, right? Where price pushes up to this 1823 area, rejects it, and then we come back down here. And we're rejecting that as well. So essentially, we're kind of like in a similar price action here. We just have to wait for price to break out in one direction or another. And daily is also starting to flip. It's fluctuating, indecision, and so is the weekly. Yeah. Wild candle.
If there were to be a break and retest somewhere in this level before it even passes here, could that be a valid entry?
Yeah. So that you could start that off as a scalp opportunity for like your quick 20 pips or so, and then you can let everything else run. But this is where I would like take partials and move to break even or manage my risk somehow so my winning trade doesn't turn into a losing trade.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, how many pips was that?
18.
18.
Depending on your entry, you could take 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I keep thinking of that one question I asked you, I think it was in the last simulation session, where there was a full body break and retest happening before, like, right before an important level. And you were saying how it was valid to take that full body break and retest, even to like go to the downside. So
Yep.
I've just kind of been thinking about that a bit and trying to see where else it might be applicable.
Yep. You could
Yeah.
take that. There's nothing wrong with it because
Hmm.
again, it comes down to just because we marked up 1812.91 doesn't mean that that's exactly the level that price is going to come to tap into and reject and that's it. It's more of
Hmm.
zones, right? That's why we mark up zones. So if you get a break and retest somewhere in this area and you see the volume and you pair that with like let's say any sort of news coming out or you pair that with any sort of market open and you have that volume in the market, then yeah, you can take that trade. And
Hmm.
obviously price would continue in direction given whatever the structure and higher time frames are telling you.
Right. Cool.
All right, so we're gonna try to break out of this consolidation here a little bit. See, where does price move? I'll slow this thing down a little bit just so it doesn't give people anxiety. All right, we got that rejection. So this candle's kind of breaking the highs and the lows. So is that a candle that you guys want to take an entry on? Why or why not?
No, because it's pretty much telling us it's indecisive.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to wait for it to close.
Yeah, we wait for it to close. We don't take an entry on this candle.
Hmm. And this one, if it breaks its own low, oh no, if it keeps ranging, not good.
Yeah, but if it breaks its own low, then yeah, that's a potential entry. So what you need
Right,
to
and
see happening here, pretty much, if I were to narrow in this zone a bit more, to exactly where the candles are closing, right? Right into these areas. So to answer your question of like the previous one, like if you want to take a quick scalp here, you could take it for like about 27 pips or so. Like this could be your trade opportunity. But understanding that, hey, I have had wick rejections here, so there's a very high chance where you could just end up rejecting off of this level here again.
mhm. And how do the higher time frames look?
Yeah, sure. So on the 4 hour, same thing. This is where price tends to close, and the 4 hour kind of is fluctuating right now. You go on to, there you go. You go on to the daily. So the daily is also kind of bearish, but it seems like that's the current daily low. Go on to the weekly, and the weekly is also bearish, and that's the weekly low right here as well.
Hmm. But until it breaks this level, we can't necessarily say it's a swing trade opportunity.
Yeah, that's not a swing trade until you break below that. Because all of this is
Mhm.
just massive consolidation. Price has been consolidating for, like, take it from the top here all the way down, like 162 pip range. So you could take trades there. You could take
Right,
scalps there, you could take day trades there, but that's not a swing trade.
right.
What type of fundamental news is required to push gold back up to 2000s or down to more stable 1900s? Are you talking about the simulation session, or are you talking about the current market conditions?
Is it more valid to enter when this candle passes this wick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can. As long as price is not breaking above these highs. So again, it comes down to what kind of stop loss are you comfortable with. So let's say you took an entry here. Are you comfortable with having a 30 pip stop loss?
Right.
Or let's say we get some form of break and retest here. And are you comfortable with, it's not too far off, but like it's a difference between like 33, 35, or like 25.
Mm-hmm. For like a one-to-one kind of.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Sophia, current market conditions, the fundamental news that we need to push gold back up to the 2000s mark is going to be more market fear kind of a thing, more wars going on. Right now, it's been like 2 months, right? And so a lot of investors and the markets are kind of already pricing in whatever's happening with like Russia, Ukraine. But we also have like another one like in the background, which is China and Taiwan. So if you see like both of those kind of wars going on, and then on top of that, we have interest rates that we're still kind of trying to price in. Is the Fed going to be increasing more interest rates, or are they going to maintain the interest rates? So any fundamental that's going to essentially create some sort of market fear in the investors, or even uncertainty. So if there's no optimism in the market, then the investors are going to see it, or the markets are going to see it as a fear. So any sort of market uncertainty or fear is what's going to push gold back up to the 2000s mark. And then to come back down to 1900s, you would need a little bit of more stability in the markets. So that would just mean like better economic conditions. Alright, so we got a bullish close. Alright, price is pushing down. So that could be a potential trade opportunity that you guys, let me just pause this real quick, that you could look into. So as price is breaking the lows, so let's say even if you took an entry here, but now price is telling you again that it's not going to go anything higher than that. So that's your 30 pip stop loss, and then you're going for around like 22 pips or so. So that would be like your partial level. So this is an entry that you can still, just let it go and see how far it's going to go, but you're going to manage your risk along the way instead of just closing out the entire trade. You could close out the entire trade here, but this candle is kind of fluctuating too. Or you just wait for this candle to close, and then you see like the following candle make some sort of top wick and then continue pushing, and then you try to ride that volume out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does anyone want to take a trade here while we're paused?
Sure, I'll take one.
Alright. 1% risk, 2%?
One is good.
Okay. Where would you place your stop loss?
Maybe above the wicks.
Right here?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and then your TP, do you want to check higher time frames?
Yeah, that would be good.
Alright. So where would you like to place it?
I mean, it may or may not happen, but I might as well place it here with the idea of closing partials here.
Okay, sure. Anybody else? So we're only going to risk a total of 3% on the account, so there's 2 more percent, even on YouTube, if anyone wants to take it. Alright, let's go ahead and start. I don't have any intention of completing a funding challenge anytime soon. So there are a lot of people in the group who do funding challenges, but I was kind of thinking about it, but it's like what would I do with those funds, like the profits that I make, because I kind of want to either fund someone else or do something else with those funds. Like, I don't want to use that for my own trading because I don't really need it. I would only do it just to kind of help people, be like, yeah, hey, this is like, how you pretty much would pass a challenge, or like these are the issues that a lot of people have, so that I'm able to address them. Right now, I don't have any opinion because I've never done a funding challenge, but I wouldn't use those profits or anything like that for my own trading. I would do it for, like, fund somebody else, or donate or something with it. So let me know however you want to manage your trade here, Kat.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if we're able to even stop it whenever it gets there, I would close some. Did you ever play that Sonic game at Chuck E. Cheese when you had to wait for, like, the little...
Yeah. No, that's not gonna work. Usually we put like a partial level or something there, and then just take it.
True. Does Soft 4FX actually do partial levels? I've actually been curious about this.
I don't think so, but if you have, like, I know a lot of people use like magic keys or something, and that's how they're able to do it.
True, true.
No, this is not a swing trade. I'm pretty much just showing you guys like how you can even take scalps within consolidation areas, because this is a massive consolidation, right? Swing trade, we talked about how it wouldn't. The only way that you can take a swing trade is if price breaks below this area and continues pushing and you have the confirmation for it, or price breaks above 1823, which is based off of these daily and weekly levels. This is a quick scalp opportunity which has the potential to turn into a day trade. That's all. Alright, there we go.
Cool.
Alright, so you got 3 cents.
Ah.
Do you want to close 1 and then let 2 run, or do you want to close 2 and let 1 run?
I think I'll just close 2.
2, okay. Alright, do you want to keep your stop loss at the same place or move it?
I'll keep it for now.
Okay, cool. So you have a penny lot running pretty much. We'll just speed this up here again. You cool with me skipping through it?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Oh, let me move this here. So let's see if it breaks that 4 hour. If it breaks that, my first level that would kind of target would be like around this, a previous resistance, and then if price continues pushing, then like a support area here. Let's see how that is on the daily. Yeah, in daily it's right in that consolidation area here. So again, this is only a scalp with the potential of a day trade. This is not a swing trade.
Right, until we see at the very least a closure or a break and retest. No, it has to be a break and retest.
A break and retest above this or below this. These are your daily levels. And the reason why I say that is because all of this here is just consolidation.
In a situation like this, would you think it's valid to move my stop loss here?
Yeah? You want to do that?
Yeah.
Where is it? Right here. I'm going to do visual. There you go.
Thanks.
Alright, as price is pushing, so you have moved your stop loss, you've kind of decreased the exposed risk that you have in this trade. Can I skip?
Yeah.
Alright, so before I skip, there's like two ways I would kind of interpret what's going on right now. If we continue to reject this and close above it, that just tells us that we're going to stay in this consolidation. At that point, if I was in the live markets, I would have just skipped through just to see like if price is going to eventually break out of these areas. But if we do end up closing below this, then I want to see some form of break and retest, and then we could see like a continued move down.
Perfect.
So this is the actual price action. It's just that I've sped it up for the sake of you guys on YouTube, unless you want to come back and watch like a 3-hour video, which I don't think a lot of people would want to, but it's just using like basic whatever price, however price is kind of fluctuating. If you want to see the true market conditions, it would be legit like this, and that would mean that we would be sitting here for hours just watching all of this happen. Which I'm cool with too, if that's what you guys want. But yeah, so just to come back real quick, if it rejects this and closes above this, then that would tell me that there's not enough volume for us to continue pushing down. But if we can close below this, and then I would want to see some form of break and retest for a continued move down. Did you want to do anything with your stop loss yet?
I think I would rather see some sort of resistance forming.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be the most valid thing, wouldn't it? Actually, no, yeah. I'm gonna keep it. I only have a penny lot anyway, so.
But
if
again,
I had a bigger account.
But again, remember that you want to make sure, regardless of whether it's like 1 penny running, 2 penny running, or like 5 lots running, then you still want to make sure that your trade gets out profitable, right? Right now you're in profits, so you want to make sure that you're still profitable. So however you would want to manage this.
Right. I was about to say that if I was with like a little bit of a bigger size, whatever, I would at least move to break even. So I guess I'll just do that.
You want to move to break even? Good job. That's what I would have done too. And then, so like, if you were to manage your trade, the way that you see this kind of moving right now, like what are some things that you need to see happening, and then what are the different situations that you would kind of set up your risk management according to?
Like the different scenarios to which I would arrange my risk management around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there is some sort of resistance forming, I would like to move my stop loss there and I would probably... Actually, I think at this point I would probably just look to the left. Oh, this is a zone right here. Yeah, I would close some partials around there for sure, because then that's that other resistance to the left for sure. But I think since we're kind of coming down with a fair amount of momentum, and I only have one penny lot, I would just wait to see if perhaps we do make a break and retest and manage to go to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Would you add anything to that?
I would, so the way that I would look at it is, let me move this here. The way that I would look at it is again that little resistance area. So we're already kind of coming down and tapping into it. So I would want to see how price is reacting here. If we close above this area, like rejecting it, then there's a potential for, again, a retracement of some sort. And even in that case, like let's say price closes bearish down here, I would want to see some sort of support, price pushing up, but again, it should not be breaking above 1812. Once it breaks above 1812, I would want to be out of the trade. So the way that I would manage it is actually just trail my stop loss. As soon as this candle closes, I would want to trail my stop loss maybe like right above this area right here. So then that gives price enough room to retest this level, right? And then continue down if it wants to, but as soon as it breaks above it, I'm out of the trade, which would feed right into what calming effect is saying, that this could be a fake out.
Right, that makes total sense, because then you're respecting the lower highs if it continues down. Yeah, totally.
Right. You want me to skip through?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, can we pause for a second?
Yes.
Yeah. So here I'm definitely going to move my stop loss around here because I don't want it to break that structure. Would we call that minor structure?
Yes.
Cool.
Just minor structure, yeah. So right above this candle?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still like about 20 pips in profit. So even if you do get out at this point, you still get out with profit.
Cool.
So just making sure that regardless, it's a penny, 5 pennies, like, $2, $10, could be $100, doesn't matter. Making sure your trade remains profitable, and then just using these price moves in certain directions for a reason, right? Wick rejections, support, resistance, consolidations. So just using what market's telling you, and then being like, does it make sense if price were to break above this wick? Does it make sense that it would come back and retest this and continue pushing down? Probably not, given that this is a daily level, right? If anything, we want to see a break and retest of this and then a continued push down.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do some next bars here too. So now as price is breaking the high, like that's where you would just close out the trade, and your stop loss here was tight enough too. Right, so
would you have closed your position here?
I would have closed my position as soon as this candle here broke these highs, which is fine because your stop loss was still tight enough, right, to give price enough room to retest if it wanted to.
I see.
So let's just check the 4 hour. We're breaking below these support areas. Daily's kind of breaking the lows here too, and here on the weekly. So what I'm gonna do is skip through. Is that okay with everyone? To see where we're headed?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, so the 4 hour closed bullish. So we skip through. We got a massive bottom wick rejection. Price is trying to push up. What I would do is just wait for price or this daily candle to close, and then wait for the new candle to start forming. Because by that point, you've already traded like in one session, you've taken one trade, you've managed it, you should kind of be done with the charts.
Sorry, what session did I take that trade in, technically?
This one here.
Yeah.
This one was, let me go back here real quick. This was in your London session.
So this was the 4 hour, like if we go to the 4 hour, that's the 4 hour London?
Yeah, the 4 hour candle right there.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip through here again. Alright, cool. We come back up, reject into those areas again. So now you've pretty much come back onto the charts. What we're going to do is kind of how you would do it in the live markets, just like redo the analysis. So I'm not going to pause anything. I'm still going to let price kind of move. However it would be in the live markets. We don't really pause in the live markets, right? Okay, cool. So just to do a quick analysis again here. So what do we have going on? So if we look at zones, I think that zone is pretty much accurate there. Another thing that I would mark off now as we're coming back down is into these areas. So we could kind of, here, we'll do this here. We could do this, where price rejects into this resistance area. I extend it over, right? Same thing here. Price holds onto this as support. We're kind of coming close to it here already. And it's the last 4 hours of this daily candle, so we're just going to see how it closes. But what I want to see is this pretty much, let's see, you got your support, price came back down, held onto a support. Is this going to be like your another support? So right now it seems like we're creating those higher lows, right? And then if price does hold onto a support here, then we can look for a potential buy coming back up. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then what I will also do is mark off these levels right here. Do you guys see why? So if we break above that again, then where are we kind of headed next?
That's kind of like what's been happening this week a bit.
Yeah. So like it's still a little bit of like uncertainty consolidation stuff, but in order for us to continue bullish here, that means that price would have to create some sort of support down here. And that's what we're looking for. Support and then a push up. Do you guys follow?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's just
Could we take a look at the weekly as well, please?
Yeah, for sure. There you go. So same thing on the weekly. If you wanted, you could adjust this level. Let's say you want to do it here. Right? And then how would that look on the daily? Drop down to the daily. You're pretty much in the same area. You're not too off. You go down to the 4 hour. What's here on the 4 hour? Rejections, rejections, support for all this little consolidation, and then support here again before a massive push up, rejection here before we came back into that consolidation, and then that was the last 4 hour close right there. This is the current 4 hour candle fluctuating, and then you drop down to the 1 hour. What's going on over here? So same thing, rejections across the board, and then rejections here too. So if we're going to look for any sort of buys here, we would need support to be formed. Make sense?
Yeah. Were any of those areas in the weekly, like for the resistance kind of levels, valid to mark off? Like I don't know, like something like this or something like here? Or
So in order for us to continue bullish from there, we would need to break above this. And then you target this. So what level needs to be broken right now? This level for any buys. If price breaks above this, then that means that the weekly candle is also in our direction. And then when you go onto the daily, that's that minor resistance. If price breaks above that, then we can target some of those higher time frame levels. Make sense? Go on to the 4 hour. So what's on the 4 hour? This little resistance. You go on to the 1 hour, that resistance. So we'll just skip through until we finally see like some movement. So price held onto a support, but are we going to end up seeing some sort of break and retest? Close like a doji. So this day you would not be trading because there's no setup for you. Quite similar to this week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, finally now we're breaking above. Now we need to see some form of break and retest. So you go onto the 4 hour, confirm it with there. Okay, got a support. We're getting a nice push up. Now we need to see some form of break and retest. Go onto the daily. Okay, cool. We're pushing bullish. The daily is also bullish. Go onto the weekly. Okay, the weekly is bullish too. So we got all the time frames in the same direction. We just need our entry confirmation now. Alright, get a bearish candle close. So this candle's already breaking the lows. You wouldn't be looking for a buy here, even if it did break the highs. So don't take, another tip for you guys, don't take an entry on a candle that breaks the lows and the highs. Unless it's something like NFP or interest rates, because that's where a ton of volume kicks in. But other than that, if it's not that, and it's not either of those, because it's January 19. NFP comes out the first Friday of every month. So that's already happened. But don't take an entry on a candle that breaks the lows and the highs. Alright, so this is where you take the entry. So as price pulls back, so like anywhere here, or let's see if we can get a better entry. Pull back. That's as sniper as it gets. But that would be a setup where you would go in with something like 2%. So not 3%, but you would go in with like something like 2%. That's like a comfortable setup, a classic break and retest, and you have different time frames are in your direction. Before I go in with the 2%, does anyone else want to come in on this trade, and then we can split the risk? Even on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Alright, so then we'll go in with 1% then. So we'll go for a buy. Stop loss, I would put it right below this. Right below that wick. So then that's like your entire support area. There should be no reason for us to break below this if we are to continue pushing bullish. Go on to the daily. Daily is bullish again. So then this could be an area that you could target, which is off the weekly time frame, so anywhere here. So let's say somewhere up top here is something that we target. You got a nice risk to reward there as well. And then go ahead. So where would you place your stop loss and your TP?
Right in that area.
What's that? Right there. Okay.
Yeah. I guess where you had yours.
Okay, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about TP?
Mm,
You want to check
maybe.
higher time frames?
Hmm.
Also realize we have a gap up here that has not been filled yet.
Or okay. Um. I guess up to this area. Kind of where you had your. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We have 1% left if anyone wants to take that. You don't have to, but I'm just saying it's available for that total 3%. Okay, cool. So let's run this thing. So here the confirmation, just to run it through for you guys again one more time. Weekly time frame, bullish. Daily time frame, bullish. Go on to the 4-hour. We've created a nice little support here, and then we've been bullish. And then the entry confirmation is based off of the hourly time frame. That's where the entry is taken, right? So on the hourly time frame, you had this little consolidation. Price broke above it. We got a break and retest. As this candle breaks the highs, that's pretty much where we're looking for that entry, and then pushing up. So realistically, you would probably find an entry anywhere. Give me 1 second. So it could be here, sniper, if you caught it right off the bat. But realistically, it would be somewhere around here or a little bit higher. But same thing, your stop loss would be kind of below this. So the thought process here is if prices to continue pushing bullish, we should not be breaking below this wick here, because then we just come right back down, right, into this little consolidation. So I'm going to do some skip bars here. So we're pushing up bullish. So price is approaching your TP areas. That's where you can start to modify your TP or even your stop loss. So TP, you could move it up, but move it up to realistic areas. So right now, this is still realistic. You would keep it there because on the weekly time frame, daily time frames, we don't have any other resistance area unless you're coming up and trying to target some of these gaps, which is doable, right? So we could actually, let's say if we did that, just to show you guys a quick example. So let's say, let me pause this here real quick. So let's say you did that, right? Where you move your TP up to a gap that has yet to be filled. So that's a gap that has yet to be filled. I put it up there. Cool. So as price is pushing up into these areas, anywhere in between, wherever you guys want it, doesn't really matter. Up there. But in order for me to do that, what I'm going to do is also manage my risk, because again, just because I moved my TP up to a higher level, that's pretty much me just letting it go. And since this is a daily time frame, that would be considered your swing trade. I need to manage my risk. So that would mean I take partials of some sort, or I move to break even, or I do both of those. Or the fourth thing is you trail your stop loss and take partials. Make sense?
Yeah.
So let's say as
Yes.
price is breaking these highs, right? So which one did I move? This one right here. So let's say I close part, right? So let's say I close 2 cents, I'm letting 3 run, right? So I do that, and then as price continues pushing, let's drop back down to the hourly. I could move it back up to break even. I could move this level, where is it? Right here. I could move this stop loss to break even. So basically what I'm saying is, again, there should be no reason for price to come back and break below this zone. I could give it enough room to come back and retest into these areas if it wanted to, but there should be no reason for price to come back and break below this area if it is to continue bullish. So every time you're managing your risk, you're either moving your stop loss to break even or trailing it, so then you're still in profits, or you're moving your TP to a higher level, which is perfectly fine. Just don't ever move your stop loss and make it wider. Just keep that at a predetermined level. But whenever you're doing any of those situations, you want to be thinking about the structure. Where does it make sense? So in this case, as structure is bearish, we break above it, you get that break and retest. So where does it make sense? So it makes sense that price could come back and retest into this area But if it is to maintain this bullish structure, there should be no reason for it to come back and break the previous lows. Make sense?
Yes.
Got it.
Perfecto. Alright, can I skip through? Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead.
Alright, so that's your one TP that was hit. So same thing here. If you're going to look for continued entries, you want to see break and retest. So 4 hour, insanely bullish, and the daily as well. So both of them hit your TP. So now if you're going to look for any other trade opportunities or scale-ins for the rest of the week, you're going to wait for pullbacks and continuation up. So instead of being a swing trade, because we did see it off the daily and the weekly, it just ended up being like a day trade opportunity instead because of the volume. So when you look at the closed trades, or history, there you go, history. So we ended up taking 1, 2, and 3 trades, and then the first one was closed by the trailed stop loss after Kat took her partials, and then the other 2 were closed. One of them was closed partially, and then the other 2 were closed by TP. So a total of like around 227 pips is the maximum that we've gotten. Does anyone have any questions?
What time frame was that? Sorry, session.
What session was that? This is, I believe this was like pre-New York. Yeah, this was like around pre-New York session.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions at all, concerns, or anything? All of this makes sense for everyone, even on YouTube. I hope this makes sense for you guys. It was a good simulation session. Probably answer some of your guys' questions. If not, just let me know, and then I'll try to do like another session and hopefully answer your guys' questions there. Alright, cool. So I will see you guys tomorrow for the webinar, and then I'll try to do like another simulation session for YouTube. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or just drop it here, like comment it. I probably won't be able to see it in the chat, but just comment, and then I will be sure to somehow answer your question, whether it's through a video or on my Instagram or doing another simulation session. But I hope this was helpful for all you guys who were asking me some questions about entries, stop loss, take profit, and how to manage your risk, and how to grow like a small account. Because I think we started this with like $1,000. I think we started this with like $1,000, and then we made like 139 based off like what 3 trades, only risking between like 1 to 3%.
Great session.